One rainy night, Dave was driving back home from his late shift. The road was dark, and the rain made it difficult to see. As he approached a narrow, deserted street, he noticed a woman standing by the roadside, drenched, waving frantically for a lift. Normally, he wouldn't pick up strangers, but something about the way she looked, a mix of desperation and fear, compelled him to stop. The woman got in without a word, shivering as she took the seat beside him. Dave glanced over and noticed her wet clothes clinging to her skin, her long hair hiding most of her face. "Where are you headed?" he asked, but she simply pointed ahead to a neighborhood that seemed oddly familiar to Dave. He turned on the car's heater to warm her up, but the chill in the car only seemed to grow. They drove in silence, the wipers struggling against the downpour. Suddenly, Dave remembered something strange. He had seen a news report a year ago about a woman who had died in a car accident on this very road. Her name was Coral, and the police said she was trying to get home when the accident happened. Feeling a shiver run down his spine, he glanced at the woman in the passenger seat. Just then, she turned to face him fully, and Dave's blood ran cold. Her face was pale, eyes hollow, and a thin, dreary smile stretched across her lips. It was the same face he had seen in the news article. Before he could react, she whispered, "Thank you for bringing me home," and vanished. Dave's heart pounded as he slammed on the brakes, skidding to a stop. He looked around, but there was no one in the car. His mind raced, trying to make sense of what had just happened. And then, he looked up at the rearview mirror. Coral's reflection was there, still smiling. "I'm not done yet," she whispered. The car engine sputtered and died, leaving Dave stranded in the middle of the rain-soaked road with the chilling realization that he was not alone. Dave's hands trembled as he tried to restart the engine, but it wouldn't turn over. The rain pounded on the roof, drowning out the frantic thumping of his heart. He kept glancing at the rearview mirror, half expecting to see Coral's reflection again, but it was gone. For a moment, he thought it was all just his imagination playing tricks on him. Desperate, he reached for his phone to call someone, anyone, but the screen was dead, just a black void. That's when he noticed something that sent chills down his spine. The windows of the car were fogging up, and there was a faint pattern of handprints slowly appearing on the glass, as if someone were pressing their palms against it from the outside. He wiped the fog away, squinting through the rain to see if there was anyone outside, but the street was empty. Only the flickering street lights and the sound of the rain accompanied him. Dave's breath hitched as the handprints on the window started to spread, as though someone was dragging their fingers across the glass, writing something. Slowly, the words became clear, "Take me home." Asterisk. He felt a sudden, icy grip on his shoulder. Spinning around, he saw Coral sitting in the back seat, her face inches from his, eyes black as coal, and that eerie smile still plastered on her lips. "Why did you stop?" she whispered, her voice echoing like it came from deep inside a cave. "I'm still waiting." Terrified, Dave could barely breathe. "What do you want from me?" he stammered, his voice shaking. "Just keep driving," she said, her voice calm but commanding. "I need to get home." With no other option, Dave shifted the car into gear and began driving, unsure of where he was going, but too scared to refuse. The road seemed to stretch endlessly, winding through foggy, unfamiliar paths that didn't seem to lead anywhere. As he drove, Coral spoke softly, telling him things that made his skin crawl, stories of her past, secrets about people he knew, things no stranger should ever know. The car's headlights suddenly illuminated a broken-down house at the end of the road. "Stop here," Coral said, her voice cold and empty. Dave reluctantly pulled over, the car coming to a shuddering halt. He turned to look at her, but she was gone, the back seat empty once more. But then, out of the corner of his eye, he saw her,